welcome to Let's Play Gran Turismo 3, episode 71. And where, after I've pretty much done all the tuning I could, well, basically upgraded the fuck out of this Honda NSX from the previous event that was the MR Challenge to compete against the almighty GT40s, I eventually managed to win all 3 races, after pretty much maxing out engine performance. Anyways, let's now head over to our 4th car type event in the professional league, which is the 4-wheel drive challenge. And ultimately, I'm going into this as an unbeknownst figure, and the reason for that is because there are a lot of 4-wheel drive cars I've used in here. And well, I've already driven the Subaru Legacy. I'm not planning on driving the Evo 5, and most of these are either race cars or rally cars that I've not driven, so yeah. I think the car I'm going to drive for this one is going to be the Mainz Lancer Evo 6. And I did of course discover there was a problem here. And that problem was, well, we cannot do a lot of tuning to this thing. Okay. Well, just going to put on the sport brakes anyway, because, well, fuck it. And well, realistically, there's only one bit of tuning we can actually do to this thing, which is basically just a turbo kit. But crucially, we get 490 horsepower if we put this on. And because this is the professional league where tuning of some sort is always compulsory, and one thing I've noticed that is actually ironic is the fact I'm saying that it's already got stage 2 of weight reduction, and oddly enough I can actually purchase stage 3, so yeah, I'm gonna do that. And also, because I know for sure this is also going to be mandatory, I'm putting on the Super Slicks. And just gonna check through to be sure, just to see that there's nothing else we can do. Well, I don't think we're going to be at task course, so I don't think that's going to be an issue, and yeah, I think that's about all I can really do. But obviously, because I want to be cautious going into this, I'm also going to give this thing an oil change, and everything else is fine, so let's get on with this. The 4-wheel drive challenge, and officially we win 30 grand from winning each of these races. Each of them I would think are 10 laps, as of which circuits we are going to are Route 5 Reverse, Laguna Seca and Deep Forest. 3 races, 30 grand if we can win each of these, so let's get to it. And we shall see how long this takes. And we've got a pretty even competition. And obviously, don't think I'm gonna fiddle around with the downforce because, well, I'm not going to any particularly high-speed circuits, unless you would account for this one, but this is our starting lineup. So we have the regular Evo 6, along with a Scoopy Impreza, an Audi S4, and 2 Nissan Skylines. One of them being the R32, and the other one being the R34. So, let's get through race 1. I hope, of course, that we have enough horsepower to maybe win this event or something like that. And already I'm off to a good start, and Yeah, I knew I should have put on the racing transmission, because it looks as though speed is going to be an issue. Although, hopefully not too much of an issue, because ultimately, this is the only course relating to speed that we're actually heading to, at least the only course with a long front stretch that we're actually heading to. And already, I am diving straight up into the lead. And wow, I was very tight there through the hairpin. Even though this thing, as I've noticed, it has a very low top speed, well, the truth is, I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem, because realistically, this car already has some of the tuning I would have put on it heading into the event anyway, and officially, because I'm improving, of course, to be more competent around this circuit than the AI, ultimately, I am, of course, able to take an early lead. And as of which, at the end of the first lap, I am already leading this by 3 seconds. Although, I still have a concern for my top speed, because, well, I think, realistically, I've only got an actual top speed of around probably 138, 139 miles an hour. At least I think that's what it is in miles, but obviously this is the less superior power version, and well, the truth is, everything is everything is displayed in metric units, it's not displayed in imperial units like the NTSC version. But again, it must be said, we do have our advantages, and already I am starting to gradually ease away from the rest of the field, regardless of how low my top speed is. It's certainly a good thing that we aren't heading over to test course, because if we were, then I really would be in deep shit. Fortunately, however, test course is not one of our priorities for this event. And yes, I am fortunate enough to say that. Because I can only imagine how terrible this thing would be around test course. Especially if you are putting it up against the likes of either a Roof CTR2 or something like the fucking Pikes Peak Escudo. Which, oddly enough, by the way, is a shitty car from this game onwards. I heard the Escudo was good in GT2, but realistically it wasn't all that amazing in the games following that the Escudo appeared in. It wasn't really that amazing. Because, well, the Escudo drives terribly in this game, and I think in GT4 it's more or less the same, unless it's on dirt. Because on asphalt, the car itself is just terrible to drive. But once you put it out there on the dirt, that's basically where it's home, because obviously it's a car that's raced in the Pikes Peak, and I think it's fair to say that I'm definitely driving an OP car here. I think I might as well confirm that. Overpowered car confirmed. That's exactly what I think this is. In comparison to the Skyline, because I'm already leading this event by 15 seconds. And I'm pretty sure it's only going to be a matter of time before I do manage to start overlapping the field. Even though I probably won't, because obviously top speed is still an issue, but again, because these AI are not anywhere near me in terms of actually making it through the corners, ultimately I'm basically just holding on. To my advantage by being a lot more superior through the corners, basically. Yeah, okay. I'm going to admit, I think I do have an OP car for this race. It's taken me nearly 5 laps to admit it, but officially, what I have here is indeed an overpowered car. Since the margin is now 21.8 seconds to the Skyline. Although it still doesn't stop me from setting a new best lap time. Because even though I'm constantly hitting the rev limiter down the front stretch, it really doesn't matter too much because I'm still able to extend my interval regardless of how much top speed I am lagging. Now to the end of lap number 6, and officially I think it is fair to say that I'm definitely not going to lose this. And coming across the line, 6 laps are down and still 4 to go. I think it's pretty much fair to say this has probably been a farcical race in terms of action. Because hard as it might be, I am proving, of course, to be more competent on this circuit than his AI. And the Skyline is now in the pits. Yeah, I'm just decimating the field at the moment. And since I figured, of course, pit stops would probably happen, that's pretty much the main reason why there could be a distinct possibility of me overlapping the entire field. Even though that's probably not going to be the case, because if I'm being realistic, I would say I'm most likely to overlap probably one of these guys, unless I'm really proving myself to be that much more superior through the corners. because top speed is still laggy, but again, my cornering speed is probably transcendent even from the capabilities of artificial intelligence. So yeah, I guess realistically there are some circuits where the AI will just absolutely stomp you, and then there's probably other circuits where you will more or less pull off and vice versa by stonking them. After 8 laps of domination, it does look as though I am officially going to overlap my first opponent, which is the Mitsubishi, methinks. I think that one's the E-6 I just overlapped. But officially, there we go. I've now overlapped my first opponent, and once we get into the corner, I am more than likely to overlapping my second opponent. Although, I'm not going to change the transmission because realistically, we aren't really going to any circuits that are decided on top speeds in particular, or decided on cornering speeds. And yeah, it does look as though I am officially going to overlap most of the field in this race, as of which I am now closing in on the RDS4, which fortunately means I do not have to wait as long for everyone else to finish. Because obviously I've overlapped nearly the entire field in this race. That is just literally how dominant my performance has been throughout this race. Down the inside, and I have officially overlapped most of the field, and only 2 thousandths off setting best lap time, matching my best lap time. I was so close to reaching it. It was only a matter of 2 thousandths of a second. There we go. I have pretty much overlapped most of the field, and if this was a 15-lap race, I would have probably overlapped the entire field before the end of it. Considering I'm suspecting his AI would have probably pitted in again on lap 12, since they pitted in lap 6 in this race. So, the Skyline is going to be the only other opponent that will officially run the full race distance. Meanwhile, I have just been the dominator. A minute and 11 seconds now to the Skyline, even though I'm pretty certain it will not shrink that interval. And coming across the line, and I win race 1. And now we'll miss out on beating my best lap time. And the S4 has just come across the line. So let's now wait and see how long it takes for the Skyline to finish. There he is, and in the space of just 14 minutes and 39 seconds, I nearly overlapped the entire field in that first race. So, I think it's fair to say that if I'm wanting this to be a competitive race, I definitely don't need the turbo for the second or third races. I might as well clarify that. Actually, no. Nah, I won't save this one. Anyways, second race, and we're heading over to Laguna Seca for again 10 laps. And in this field, we now have 3 Subarus, 1 Mitsubishi, well, 2 Mitsubishis technically if you count me, but obviously mine's not officially a Mitsubishi, and 1 Audi. And because I have a feeling this is probably going to be an easy dub, I'm just going to remove the turbo, because I think I already have enough tuning on this thing for what it is. And because I'm pretty sure these AI will probably pit, I really don't have any other choice but to remove the turbo just to make this a more competitive race than Route 5 Reverse was. Even though I'm doubtless in saying that this will probably be an easy win anyway, because I'm pretty sure this AI will pit before the end of this race. And also because technically I am of course driving a tuned car model, which is in some cases the contributor towards why exactly I dominated the first race, and as of which, the Blitzen is actually leading this race at the moment. One thing which I really did not expect to happen, and the 22B has just run wide. Although, fortunately, however, this is not a course decided on speed. I'm pretty sure that I will manage to eventually take the lead. The Scooby really had me locked up there on the inside. I did try and back out of it, but unfortunately I was not going to, and officially the Audi does now take the lead away from the Blitzen. Sorry, the Legacy. Why do I keep calling it the Blitzen? I guess it must be because it's the Blitzen model or something. But yeah. I mean, this course isn't decided too much on speeds. It's more decided on cornering speeds, and oddly enough, that's exactly what I think this car has. Even though the S4 does have the larger parts of straight line speed. Diving down the inside of the Audi, is still able to get a stronger exit, than I am. But once the pit stops happen, that's ultimately when I will manage to take control. Although, fortunately for you at least as the viewers, this is a more interesting race than Route 5 was. Because I basically just took the lead at Route 5 and then I dominated. Whereas with this one, I've manoeuvred myself up to the second position. I can assure you I did not make contact with the S4 as we went through the corner. He was just braking early, or probably brake testing me or something, but at the moment, this race is definitely proving to be more interesting than Route 5 was, and oddly enough, the S4 is using his straight line speeds, is using these straights to his advantage, because oddly enough, I'm actually being challenged in this second race, which ironically is exactly what I'm wanting to see, but inevitably I will eventually manage to get past him, whether he blocks me this much or not. remains to be seen. But I'm definitely staying close to the Audi S4 as we head through Corkscrew now for the third time in succession. Oh, bollocks. And effectively, the tuned Lancer Supremacy now takes the lead after nearly 3 laps. Even though the S4 at the moment is definitely proving, of course, to be a worthy challenger, because even though I'm able to overtake through the corners, the S4 is able to do the switch back down the straights, which oddly enough is one thing I have noticed about the Audi. It's not letting me get away on the straights, because that's just, you know, what you get for having a top speed deficit. Although it really doesn't matter that much because I still have the superior cornering speeds in comparison. And it looks as though the S4 just ran wide there. I have noticed the AI tend to do that quite a lot in the professional league, where they're basically running wide on the uphill Rahal straight. Named of course after the great IndyCar racing legend Bobby Rahal. As we are now through the corkscrew once again and entering these final 2 corners. Getting a little bit of oversteer there off the final corner, and officially I have managed to break away from the Audi S4, who of course is being tailgated by the 2 Subarus. One of them being the 22B and the other one being the normal Impreza. Ironically, the 22B now takes second place away from the S4 briefly. And I'm going to assume that's because he must have stronger acceleration. But they are fighting at the moment. Oh! Penis. I need to concentrate. Just because I'm leading this thing doesn't mean I get to carelessly and relentlessly distract myself from what the real objective is at hand. And that's basically to win. And at the moment, I am proving my distinctive points of domination perfectly. Even though I really cannot afford to get distracted too much. And whatever the order is going to be, excuse me, and whatever the order is going to be heading into the pit stop cycles, that is basically what the order of this race is going to look like. Meanwhile, because I have the super slicks, I know for sure I will not have to stop them for tyres, and that, of course, is basically the default strategy that shall allow me to win this race, as of which, at the moment, I'm already leading this thing now by 4 seconds, since I took the lead at the end of lap 3. I've been able to build up a relatively steady cushion, and I suspect the reason for that is because of how durable these tyres are. And I would say a victory up to this point in the race is more or less guaranteed by the time the pit stops are made. And I am pretty certain that from here the gap is only going to keep extending. So they've not pitted in yet. I'm suspecting it should be at the end of the next lap, as of which I go 1.2 seconds faster on that lap than my previous PB. Gap is now 6.7 seconds to the Audi S4. The 22B is currently running in second, and officially the first of these AI now pits. That is, of course, the Subaru Legacy. The pole sitter, who technically, under many circumstances, is basically the back marker in this race. As tragic as it might sound. But officially, as I expected up to this point, with my tyre durability, obviously, I have basically become the dominator in this event. And I think my TV had a little bit of a glitch there, but I'm hoping it's not anything serious. Because, well, my TV tends to do that quite a lot. Considering, obviously, I do have an old HD Panasonic TV, which, as I've said before, is basically from the late 2000s. Probably like 2009, 2010 when they produced this television. And officially, both the Impreza and the S4 are now in the pits. I'm suspecting they're going to be trying the undercut on the 22B, unless the 22B officially has the more durable tyres. Even though I'm doubtless, to say the least, in sympathising that is probably not what the case is. Anyways, 7 laps are now complete. I lead this race by a 10.7 second interval over the Impreza 22B. The unstoppable trickery I had at Route 5 reverse is not proving to be as dominant, but fortunately, at the very least, I can definitely say I have a much more even car for this event, because I was actually able to race with the AI rather than just gradually extend my lead. Even though that is something I am now doing, because obviously my lead at the moment is currently on an extension cord. And the 22B does now come into the pits, so that does mean the 22B will probably fall back to 4th position, unless the overcut is really proving, of course, to be powerful enough to help him hold on to the 2nd position, and it just might be. Is he going to hold on to it? Yes, he is. So apparent as it might be, the overcut is proving, of course, to be the more superior strategy over the undercut here at Laguna Seca. The 22B consistently set some reasonable lap times, and officially that must have been what exactly helped him to hold on, of course, to the second position over the Audi S4. And overall, this has been a more competitive race, but once the pit stops happened, I basically just went on a tearaway streak of me just unquestionably dominating this race by the time the pit stops took place. Anyways, final lap, and gap is now 29.7 seconds, so the 22B must be closing in since he pitted in for that fresh set of rubber. The overcut, like I said before, has proven of course to be the superior strategy over the undercut. And whilst the 22B might be closing in effectively, it's too much of a gap for him to close before he can officially catch up with me, and I'm pretty certain, to say the least, in saying that this will probably be another easy dub, even though he is continually increasing his speed by decreasing that gap. So through the final corner now, and down the front stretch we go, and I also set a new PB in the process, in spite of me over-revving 4th gear. But there we go. I win! And it took me just under 15 minutes to set 10 laps around Laguna Seca. Anyways, let's now wait to see how long it fucking takes for the Legacy to cross the line. There he is. And he finished 1 minute and 6 seconds behind me. Considering obviously he did start this race from the pole, but eventually, once the race really got underway, he seriously fell back. Anyways, another 30 grand for me, and I am virtually 60 grand richer than I was when I started this event. So the 22B took second as a result of the overcut, ahead of both the Audi S4 and the normal Impreza. The Evo 6 finished in 5th, and then at the back, after starting this race from the pole position, it was the Legacy. Anyways, final race, and it takes place at Deep Forest, and will it be another easy win? Probably. And we are going 15 laps around Deep Forest, and cars we're up against are the Audi S4, the Skyline R32, the Mitsubishi 3000 GT, along with a Subaru Legacy and a Toyota Celica. So we basically have one Audi, one Nissan, one Mitsubishi, one Subaru, and one Toyota in this field. And will I manage to win the race before my TV starts doing weird shit again? Probably not. But am I still going to attempt it anyway, regardless? Yes. Because, again, these circuits have been benefiting towards my advantages, theoretically speaking, and I am already up into the 4th position, and my TV is still doing weird shit for some reason. Even though obviously, because I don't have a lot of money at the moment, I cannot replace it. And officially, oh, the R32 is still sliding, I just noticed that. And he has lost... oh, okay, he hasn't. I thought for sure he lost 2nd position when he was running wide, but surprisingly he didn't. As of which he is still ahead of the Mitsubishi 3000 GT, who is running more competitively in this event than he has in previous events. So I'm up to 2nd, and now trying to see, of course, if I can look for an opening on the Audi S4, who is the current leader here at Deep Forest. Don't want to be in the slipstream for too long, because obviously, like Route 5, this does have a long backstretch, and that could put me at the brief disadvantage, but again, because of how much more superior my cornering speeds are, as of which this is another one of those courses where it's mainly decided on cornering speeds. That is ultimately where I will officially manage to take the lead, and down the inside I go, as a result of just keeping it clean, and officially I now move up into the first position, and where I'm pretty certain from here I will probably dominate the rest of this race, because unlike the two previous races, this one is 15 laps. Although oddly enough, it is relatively split in terms of manufacturers, because we have 5 different models from 5 different manufacturers. Even though technically in some cases I am driving a tuned Mitsubishi, the truth is these AI definitely appear to have quite an approach of independency heading into this race, because to add onwards, of course, to the complexities of these corners here at Deep Forest, officially I am still holding on, of course, to a sleazy lead over the RDS4. So here we are at Deep Forest once again, as I head through the second tunnel and the third tunnel down the backstretch. 3.858 seconds is now the margin to the Audi, as of which that is literally how dominant I've been so far. And because these are courses where the AI are not proving, of course, to have their side of the considerable superiority, respectively, I am able to get my fair share of the consultation by basically just dominating all 3 of these races, coherently speaking. Yeah, 6.3 seconds. I am pretty sure this is where I start to pull away from the rest of these AI, because that is literally how dominant I have been throughout this event. And all I really had to spend was like somewhere over 30 grand to be this dominant, so maybe I didn't need the stage 3 weight reduction for this event, or the turbo. Whoops! Even though I bought them anyway, because, well, obviously it's the professional league, and obviously for most of these events it is basically mandatory to have tuning of some sort heading into these, you know, events if you want to win, which is basically what I've been doing. Yeah, again, I do apologise if my TV is just glitching for some reason on the video output. I have tried unplugging the HDMI and then replugging it. But unfortunately that has not been successful, unfortunately. Officially we are now 5 laps into this thing, as I suspected, I am in the domination zone. As of which we have already cleared 5 of 15 laps. Here, of course, in the 4-wheel drive challenge, and out of all 4 of these events in the professional league, ultimately this one is clearly proving to be the easiest. Even though ironically enough, Laguna Seca I think was fairly competitive before the AI pitted, and then once they did I basically went onwards to dominate and to just win the race. Considering in many cases that's ultimately what I did. Meanwhile, the domination continues out front. I am basically the Lewis Hamilton of this event because of how much I'm dominating this race. As of which, coherently, that's exactly what Lewis Hamilton usually does whenever he's dominating a race weekend. And officially, the AI have now pitted, and I would imagine it's only a matter of time before I do manage to successfully overlap someone, because this race is 15 laps, and already I'm on lap 7. So I'm pretty certain that before the end of this race I could very well overlap someone, because there are still 8 laps to go following this one. For the tuned Evo 6's interludes. Also furthermore, yes, I am aware on knowing this is an Evo 6, not an Evo 5. To those of you who might be concerned about the make and model. Although in saying that, I did now set a new best lap time of a 1:18.6. And I am definitely closing in on the back markers here. And well, the field is relatively split overall. And since these AI have now pitted, of course, nobody attempting an undercut or an overcut to try and improve their positions. Ultimately, I basically just been left out in the open to fluidly dominate what has probably been a stellar performance. So heading through the final corner once again, we now have just 6 laps to go as I get a terrible exit. But officially 6 laps to go. I still set a new PB in the process in spite of that. And I am definitely closing in on the back markers, or the back marker I should say, because whoever is in last year is basically out of the zone. And the field, I would imagine by now, has been relatively split. So I think that said 48 seconds there now to the Audi, so again, my continuity towards the continual domination of this race is collecting itself and basically ravishing the rest of the field, because that is just how much I am thoroughly dominating this event. So coming up on... correction, this is 6 laps to go. I do apologise if I got my numbers wrong. This is officially 6 laps to go, and by virtually half a second I set a new best lap time. So, I'm now on to lap 10, and I would imagine it's only a matter of time before I do manage to overlap someone, because I'm getting closer and closer every lap, virtually. Overlapping whoever is at the back of the pack. And I would imagine it's probably the Legacy, because, well, the Legacy has basically just been out on its own recently. Although, fortunately for me at least, I was able to get the Legacy a victory of some sort. If you have seen my arcade mode videos, that is essentially what I basically did. So I am closing in on whoever is at the back. It's most likely to be the Legacy, as I expected it would be, and in the process I set another new best lap time by literally dead on 0.6 of a second. I am really going for it just to overlap the Legacy, even though I would imagine it's probably going to take forever for the rest of this field to finish, and that is a dyke on the inside. Anyways, down the inside of the Legacy, and he hits the inside wall on the exit of the tunnel, but fortunately I am not involved there, and also, to my correction, there are actually 4 tunnels on this circuit, not 3. And so... yep, I think that's pretty much highlighted who I'm going to be overlapping next, because he has just pitted again, unsurprisingly. Anyways, 4 laps to go, and both the 3000 GT and the Legacy have both pitted. I don't know if I will or won't be able to overlap the entire field, but I'm pretty certain I'll definitely overlap half the field, judging by what I've seen here. And now coming up to overlapping the Celica, who does manage to leave the door open nice and evenly, he does, and I'm down the inside and up to overlapping pretty much half the field. This is basically one of those okie dokie situations where I'm basically just not really caring about what happens next, because I have a consistent enough lead to hold on to top honours, and I would imagine by the time I've got to the end of this race I will have more or less overlapped most of the field. Even though in some cases it wouldn't completely surprise me if I do manage to overlap the entire field. I mean, it probably won't happen, but again, I will give it a shot to see if I can do that without using a turbocharger, even though I probably won't, because there really isn't any point. up to this stage in the race, I really don't see any point, if I'm being completely honest. Oh, damn it. Yep, okay, it's official. I am officially going to overlap the entire field now as a result of them making a second pit stop. I have now officially overlapped the entire field by defaulted pit stops. That is literally how dominant I have been throughout this race. Because this so far has probably been one of my most dominant performances over the AI. That's literally how much more superiority I must have over them in terms of fucking on-track competitiveness, or on-track competence I should say. So, to be completely honest, this has pretty much been a pretty boring race in my honest opinion, but obviously still a race I'm willing to accept because obviously I was the dominator, and fortunately we did not have to go to test course, which I am pretty certain is a race I would have evidently lost unless I had the transmission. Anyways, final lap, and this is ultimately excuse me. This is ultimately where it is going to count our post. And I would imagine it'll probably take me just under 20 minutes to finish this final race. Although it really doesn't matter how long it takes because I'm basically a whole lap and a bit ahead of the rest of the field as a result of them making pit stops, so no matter what happens up to this point, they can still unlap themselves and I would probably still win this race, but obviously that will probably not be the case. Ah, dicks. And I was weaving with oversteer. And I could not keep it off the road. No, doesn't matter, because I still win by an entire lap and a bit. Anyway, so no matter what happens in this race, I will have basically overlapped the entire field. Meanwhile, let's wait for everyone else to finish. Okie dokie then. I have pretty much overlapped the entire field, and as of which it has taken me just under 20 minutes to complete 15 full laps of Deep Forest Raceway. And I am nearly 100 grand richer than I was when I started the event. And also, just before I forget, I should probably save this replay as well, because I do not have a replay saved yet. So yeah, let's do that. And all I can really say about the 4-wheel drive challenge overall, as a result of switching to the Evo 6 as well, that was easy. Certainly one of the easiest single race events I've managed to complete in my honest opinion. And as a result of winning it, we get the Lancer Evo 7 rally car prototype. So that's the prize car we win from the Professional All-Wheel Drive Challenge. It's basically another Lancer Evo rally car. Anyways, that's all of our car type events done, and next time we shall be doing the professional race of Red Emblem. But before we do that, let's check our stats. So we are nearly 75% done with this game, and officially, let's now go upwards to check out our new prize car. And so this is what we win, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 7 Rally Car Prototype. Yes, I did say the full name. Evolution, can basically say it either way. They both have the same spelling. And obviously, as you would have expected, sponsorships are censored because obviously tobacco sponsors, and it's probably more than likely to say at the very least this car was probably driven by Tommy Mäkinen. This car was probably in 2001, methinks. Okay, I'm done. And so next time we shall be doing the professional race of Red Emblem, so stay tuned for that.